now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.
Спасибо, господин председатель.
Thank you, President. I'd like to begin by expressing our bewilderment at the idea of organising today's informal GA meeting. As is well known, the basis for it is a politicised, non-consensus-based resolution of the Third Committee, 74/169, Situation of Human Rights in the Syrian Arab Republic. Its content has very little to do with reality. The whole resolution is built on unverified accusations, lies and conjecture. It's shamelessly used by opponents of the Syrian government. The only aim of this resolution is to punish the Syrian leadership, whose independent course doesn't suit a number of Western countries who continue to promote practices of using force or the threat of force in international relations. At the heart, this is an erroneous approach that is also continued in the speeches of a number of our colleagues today. The Russian Federation has repeatedly called for that we not use human rights discourse to resolve short-term political aims, and also that we stop violating the UN Charter in applying pressure to sovereign states within the UN and threatening them, but rather return to mutually respectful dialogue and constructive cooperation. It's a pity that neither the panelists nor some of those who talk of defending human rights didn't talk about the real problems that Syria and its government have been dealing with. For a number of years, the Syrian Arab Republic has been fighting against terrorist groups financed from outside. The most difficult situation is to be found in Idlib, where there are still international terrorists at work. The second problem is the violation of sovereignty and the territorial integrity of the state, and the illegal occupation of its territory by the United States and the violation of its natural resources. There's also the issue of women and children who are in refugee camps controlled by the United States that has a responsibility for them as the occupying force. The people of Syria for a long time have been victims of unilateral illegal sanctions, which are destroying not only the economic and social rights of Syrians, but also leading to the humanitarian catastrophe. They're depriving the people of the hope of economic recovery, in particular during the COVID pandemic. Against this background, the rhetoric of Western countries saying that there is no alternative to cross-border humanitarian assistance looks simply cynical. What was also mentioned today was the mechanism to investigate so-called crimes in Syria. It's illegal in its foundation and its functioning, and that's clear to any sensible delegation. This question has nothing to do with human rights. President, I won't comment on what was said by the German ambassador because they don't have anything to do with the General Assembly meeting. Today's meeting has nothing to do with international cooperation in the promotion and protection of human rights. Accordingly, the discussion imposed on us cannot help stabilize the situation in Syria or international efforts to find a settlement in that country. Thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.